classification of banks based on function, ownership, and in our last class, we discussed about classification on the basis of domicile. Today, we are going to discuss about the classification of banks on the basis of registration. Okay, and broadly, we can classify that as scheduled and non-scheduled banks, licensed and non-licensed banks. But for you to understand, no banks and banks in India can operate without obtaining a license from Reserve Bank of India for undertaking the banking operations. In India, that is not possible. No bank or no institution can operate as bank without obtaining the permission, without obtaining the sanction in the form of license from the central bank. That is mandatory in India. But still, we are discussing about the classification of licensed and non-licensed. So licensed means those banks which have obtained their permission, their sanction from RBI in the form of a license for undertaking various banking operations within the country. That is equally applicable to public sector banks or private sector banks or cooperative banks. All these different categories, for them, banking operations in India can be undertaken only after obtaining a license from the central bank. Okay, but generally, for the purpose of theory, non-licensed banks are those banks which do not have license or sanction for operating within the country. If at all, if a bank is operating without obtaining a license, that would be brought under the category of illegal operation. Right? It will not be qualified under the guidelines of RBI. So we have one licensed, another one is non-licensed. Licensed banks are those banks that have obtained license from Reserve Bank of India for undertaking various banking operations within the country. All right. Now the first category, the scheduled banks and non-scheduled banks. It's a general classification. Okay. And I'm going to show you the condition for scheduled banks. Scheduled banks are those banks which are included under the category of scheduled, second schedule of RBI Act 1934. RBI was set up in 1934, so that's why the regulation which been put like that, RBI Act 1934. So those banks, okay, which come under the second schedule of Reserve Bank of India, RBI Act 1934, would be called as scheduled banks. Okay, and almost all the banks you come across would be under the schedule category, Schedule 2 of Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Now, for them to be included under the category of scheduled banks, they have to mandatorily satisfy certain conditions. There are many conditions, but generally these conditions are categorized or summarized into three. Okay, these conditions are summarized into three primary conditions. One is they should have a paid up capital, and collected fund means their reserves. Okay, collected fund is their reserves. They should have a paid up capital and collected fund of greater than 5 lakh or above that. It should not be less than 5 lakh. Okay, so the collected fund and the capital together should not be less than 5 lakh in rupees, in Indian rupees. That's the first condition. It's a simple condition. Nowadays, since it was laid down in 1934, it appears to be like this. But now RBI has brought in very new regulations in order to ensure security to the investors. Those include CRAR, risk capital to risk adjusted assets, all these which you are yet to learn, which we would be discussing in the class. But those are the other regulations which have been brought out by RBI in the due course. But initially, for scheduled bank, this was the first primary condition laid down. They should have a minimum of paid up capital and reserve, total minimum of 5 lakhs. If it is less than 5 lakh, they will not come under the category of scheduled bank. The second condition is its affairs, the affairs of the banks. Okay, it is not against the banking regulation. It is not against the interest of the depositors or its customers. Means it is not going against the rules and regulations formulated by RBI from time to time, as well as the banks aim at protecting the interest of the depositors. Why depositors? Can any bank function without accepting deposit? The answer is a big no. That is why primarily banks should aim at protecting the interest of the depositors or people who are putting their money as deposits or as investments with bank. Their operations should not be risky enough to wash away the money deposited by the its customers. It should not wash away, it should not deplete, it should not take away all the money deposited by its depositors or maybe its customers. So that's the second condition. And the third condition, it's very easy. It must be a corporation or a corporate banking company. We say that as banking company, not a partnership or sole proprietorship. Bank should perform as a company, a corporation, corporate body. It will not be acceptable if it is under the form of partnership or sole proprietorship. Isn't this easy to learn? It's very easy. You don't have to learn the theory, just to by heart the theory and all. You just have to listen to me. By one listening, you will learn this. Right? So today we learned about the classification of banks on the basis of registration. We said banks can be classified. There are two broad, okay? Scheduled banks and non-scheduled banks, licensed bank and non-licensed bank. As I said in the beginning, there are no non-licensed bank in India because that is not permitted in India. Licensed bank, say they obtain the license for operating as bank from the Reserve Bank of India, okay, as well as under the Banking Regulation Act 1949, they are allowed to do those banking operations that are permitted under the Banking Regulation Act 1949, as well as its revised regulation as and when it comes. So they have a license to do the banking business in India. That will be called as licensed bank. Those who do not have a license to do the banking business in India, they would be called as non-licensed bank. Okay. Now the next what we discussed was scheduled bank and non-scheduled bank. Scheduled bank, simple answer is that comes under the second schedule of RBI Act 1934. Okay, in order to come under the second schedule, they have to satisfy primarily three conditions. One is they should have at least a capital of 5 lakh. Capital, paid up capital plus reserves. Second condition is they have to undertake only those operations that are aimed at protecting the interest of the depositors. That's the second condition. It's very simple to learn. And the third condition is they have to operate as a corporate body, banking company. They cannot operate as a partnership or sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship means only one person doing the business. That's not possible. These are the three conditions. That's all. Right? So we were talking about classification of banks based. Now, as I said in the beginning, we are just looking at banks from different angles. It can be based on the functions. It can be based on the location. That is domicile. It can be based on the ownership type, as we classified as public sector, private sector, corporate bank. It can be based on the registration. Right. So basically, we are talking about what are the different functions being performed by banks, right? And based on their features, the nature of registration, nature of existence, nature of operations, we have also categorized them into different ways.